Good morning and welcome to Clarion County. I know you're on your way to Clarion County for a visit today, and I thought we could talk about your visit today, who you're going to visit, and what you're going to see.
Well, that would be great, Ron. I appreciate it. I am coming to Clarion at the invitation of Representative Donna Oberlander and Representative soon-to-be Senator Scott Hutchinson. They wanted me to see for myself the activity that natural gas is creating for the region of the state that Clarion County is in. Governor Corbett and I, of course, have long believed that there's great potential in Marcelus Shale to create jobs and economic opportunity, but we also recognize that we owe a duty to the public health, the public safety, and the environment to make sure that we monitor this industry just as we would any other industry to make sure that that things are being done correctly. We are, by the way, not the only ones who see the opportunity of Marcelus Shale. Certainly there are companies around the country and around the world who are seeing this opportunity unfold in Pennsylvania and want to be a part of it. And one such company actually is the Atella company. It's a New Mexico company that saw an opportunity to put their water purification systems to work in our Commonwealth. So they partnered with ACI Incorporated. Those are the folks, of course, who own the Piney Creek Power Plant. And they formed the Clarion Altella Environmental Services Company, and they invested $10 million in the plant. And, of course, there are a great many construction jobs that come with that. There'll be long-term jobs that come with that. So that's one of the places that I'll be visiting today.
Oh, great. We had the people connected with the Piney Power Plant on Clarion Connection a number of months ago, both the operators of the power plant and representative of Altella. And there were also some neighbors that were on the show, and some of their concerns weren't necessarily with the environmental impact of the plant, but it's located in a very rural part of Clarion County, and there's a very tiny, narrow road that the trucks are going to have to go on. They've been transporting coal, but there's a little bit of fear about the size of the tanker trucks on that road.
And we are aware of that too, Ron. We through PennDOT have been working both with the company and listening to the residents in trying to improve that road, to improve its capacity. We do recognize that there's going to be additional truck traffic as a result of this improvement to the plant. So we have been sensitive to that, and PennDOT, in fact, improved. Specifically, I think there was a great concern about the shoulders of the road. In fact, truth be told, on that road, there probably weren't shoulders, what we would call shoulders. And PennDOT, working with the company, has remilled that road, improved the shoulder capacity to try to be sensitive. But we know as well that there can be ongoing impacts. So we're going to continue to monitor that. We're going to continue to monitor to make sure that the right weight trucks are on the road, and that we can work with our local first responders in the Clarion area through the state fire commissioner and PEMA to make sure that they are properly trained in case there might be an unforeseen accident. Those are the sorts of things that we're doing all across the gas-producing region of the state in order to make sure that we continue to protect the public's health and the public safety.
Well, that's great, and you'll have a first-hand chance to view the whole situation out there today. Do you think that the DEP has enough people to enforce some of the Marcelus concerns?
Sure. Well, I can only say this, Ron. Since 2008, the oil and gas department the oil and gas office within the Department of Environmental Protection, the number of folks we have there, inspectors we have in there, has actually doubled. Our Secretary of Environmental Protection, Mike Crancer, who's doing a fabulous job, has repeatedly testified both in the House and Senate and stated in public that there are right now a sufficient amount of inspectors. That doesn't mean that as gas production ramps up that there might not be a need for more. But where we are right now, he feels confident And what I think is perhaps even more telling is the former Secretary of Environmental Protection, John Hanger, Ed Rendell's Secretary of Environmental Protection, testified repeatedly that he felt that he had a sufficient number of inspectors in order to keep up with the industry.
One other question on the Piney site. Originally, the Piney power plant was constructed to burn the slag coal that's prominent in western Pennsylvania, and now that's kind of being phased out, and that it's being replaced in some ways by this Marcelus frack water treatment plant. Is it kind of ironic that Marcelus is replacing coal? As obviously it's a cleaner burning fuel and more available in the Pennsylvania.
Yeah, what we are finding, and for all my friends out there who are listeners who are in the coal industry, we recognize that coal is still a vital part of our energy production here in Pennsylvania, and we're certainly not turning our back on it, but what we're availing ourselves of is simultaneously, while allowing coal to be part of energy production, availing ourselves of a new opportunity as well. But you are correct that natural gas does burn on average about 40% cleaner because there aren't any sulfurs in natural gas as opposed to any other fossil fuel. But one of the other benefits of the exploration of natural gas is that there are some companies already out there who are using a byproduct of coal exploration that certainly at the time that coal was big, nobody had any cognizant thought of. That is acid mine drainage. They're actually using that fouled water, if you will, to frack, hydrofracturing, to frack natural gas wells. So we're actually cleaning up a byproduct of a not good byproduct of previous energy exploration in pursuit of a cleaner form of energy today.
Does that pose any extra dangers using acid mine drainage to frack the?
Actually, at the end, when the process of filtration, when the frack fluid comes back through the process of filtration, we end up with cleaner water than when it was used to drill down the hole. And again, we're still early in this, and the Department of Environmental Protection is monitoring the whole process very carefully. But there is cause for cautious optimism that byproduct of previous energy exploration could be used in this new phase.
Well, we can certainly use the jobs. I understand that you're also meeting with a group of business people today?
Yes, I'm going over to the Cribal Group, and we're going to be meeting with several different folks from around the area, including the the County Economic Development Corporation, and some other private industry folks to understand better not only what natural gas exploration is having an effect in the Clarion area, but how Governor Corbett and I and the legislature can work more diligently in order to empower the private sector to do what it is that they do best, to be experimental, to be entrepreneurial, and to create jobs.
Well, the Cribble family certainly has a long-standing reputation of helping create jobs in the area. They have a very good reputation in the region. And they were originally part of a C&K coal company years ago.
Yeah, and that is, Ron, one of the reasons why Donna Oberlander asked me to sit in and meet with those folks so that I could get a better understanding of the history of Clarion, but more importantly, to get an even better understanding of the future.
And surprisingly, the third step on your visit is part of our past and part of our future, Clarion Farms.
Yes, indeed. I'm looking forward to that as well. As you may know, we were successful this past legislative session in finally repealing the inheritance tax from the family farm. And, of course, the Port family has long had an interest in agriculture, a very, very lengthy interest in agriculture. And I wanted to see, again, at Donna Oberlander's request, wanted to see how those 150 cows that they have out there are doing, and perhaps maybe grab something to eat at the farmer's market.
They have a great market on their farm itself, and you go there for the best hamburger in Clarion County.
That's what I hear.
A couple other areas I wanted to talk, as if you'd be so gracious, is
sure.
The schools, the concern in the area for meeting school state testing standards. It appears that a number of our schools, quite a few schools, are not making adequate progress with those standardized tests. And
yes.
I was just wondering, in terms of school funding, where do you see the future?
Well, where we are with school funding is, I think, one of the great misunderstandings, if you will, of the 2 years of budgeting during our administration. What happened was this. We today are spending more on basic education in this Commonwealth than we ever have before, more state tax dollars. The previous administration used stimulus money for the 2 years prior to us arriving, and they put a large chunk of that federal stimulus money into basic education funding, knowing fully well that in year 3 there wouldn't be any of those federal dollars. So when they eliminated, it appeared as if Harrisburg had cut funding to basic education. That was not the case. What we, in fact, did in both years was increase the number of state dollars to make it the highest level ever. Now, the reason why those dollars, and there are a couple of reasons, but one of the main reasons why those dollars aren't getting to the classroom is because of the issue that all of us are going to have to deal with very soon, and that's the issue of pensions. Our pension liability in this state for state workers, that, by the way, under the law includes our local teachers. Our pension liability is growing at an astronomical rate. And in order to feed the beast, if you will, the pension beast, it requires more and more dollars going directly to that one area. So while we're spending more money, the reason why we're not seeing it is because of our pension problem. So Governor Corbett has said repeatedly that we're going to have to do something about that pension issue if we're ever going to be able to reform not only education, but the way we spend tax dollars all across the Commonwealth. So I think, Ron, what you're going to see both in education and at every level of government in the very near future is a reform that's going to allow the taxpayers' dollars to get to the issues and to get to the concerns and to get to the needs that they want.
The pension question is very big in the minds of the school system, and we have Clarion University here too, so there's quite a few people on pensions from there, including myself. What types of changes would you see coming?
Well, I will tell you this, that Governor Corbett and I feel very strongly that it would be improper, to say the least, and really fundamentally wrong to change the benefit that a current pensioner is receiving. So you can breathe a sigh of relief, Ron. That's not what we're interested in. And by the way, too, we're also not interested in changing a benefit for a 20 or a 30 or a 40-year employee, because that's a sacred covenant that an employer enters into with an employee, where they say to you, if you come to work for us, and if you work for us for a certain length of time, at the end of that time, you're going to receive this benefit. It's improper to change that in the middle of the game, or quite frankly, for some folks, at the end of the game. So we're not interested in that either. What we are interested in recognizing is that the reality that a defined benefit plan, that traditional pension plan, is no longer sustainable for us. The private sector figured this out quite some time ago, that we can no longer have defined benefit. We've got to look at a defined contribution plan. And what I think we need to do in order to make sure that we're not in this same situation 2 and 3 decades down the road is we have to say to the incoming employee, you know what, I understand that your colleague is getting X, but you're now going to get Y. If you come to work for us, you're going to get a defined contribution plan, not a defined benefit plan. And while I said to you and believe that not asking a 20 or a 30-year employee to change their benefit, why don't we go to a 2 or a 5-year employee and ask them if they'd like to voluntarily change their benefit? What we find statistically is that those folks that have been employed for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, or whatever the number might be, are statistically younger and would like to have more cash up front today. So they might voluntarily opt out of a defined benefit plan into a defined contribution plan. But the one thing, and there are a couple of other ideas that certainly are going to be discussed as we tackle this issue, but the one thing I think we all have to understand is that we will end up just continuing to push scandalous amounts of money into this issue and increase our liability and have less dollars to spend in our parks and in our schools and on our roads and all of those other things unless we tackle it soon. So it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be pleasant, but it's something that we're going to have to do.
It kind of reminds me a little bit on the problem that you cited with stimulus money. People used the stimulus money, which was said from the get-go was only temporary to fund regular budgets, whereas in the pension, a lot of times the state wouldn't, in past administrations, the state wouldn't enforce the local contribution. And so
exactly right.
And it's catching up with us.
Exactly right. The bill has come due.
Right. What other issues do you see in Harrisburg that you'd like to talk about?
Well, obviously, the one issue that is overarching in virtually everything that Governor Corbett and I do in Harrisburg is aimed at putting Pennsylvanians back to work because we recognize that at the end of the day, we need to create an environment in the Commonwealth to allow the private sector to create family-sustaining jobs. We wring our hands, all of us, together and say, how are we ever going to get out of this economic recession that we're in, this, as it's been called, Great Recession? And the answer is staring us right in the face. It's the same way we've gotten out all the other times. It's by turning to the private sector and allowing them to be experimental and to create jobs. So what we are doing in Harrisburg is first creating that environment by trying to lower some of the most oppressive corporate taxes in the nation, by trying to send a signal that the government, while it's going to be a strict regulator, is not going to be a restriction. It's going to be a resource in empowering the private sector to create jobs. We're also trying to make sure that we have an educated populace that can assume those jobs when they come of age. So we are really focused almost exclusively on every facet we can of creating opportunity and trying to change one statistic in particular that is troubling, and that is this. We, as you know, through your long history in higher education, we in Pennsylvania are a huge importer of students, particularly for our great colleges and universities. But we're also a huge exporter of graduates. 1 in 4 of our children here in the Commonwealth that are born here, raised here, go to school here, end up leaving here in their young adulthood, not because they want to, but because they have to, because there aren't those job opportunities here. And Governor Corbett and I want to change that. We've been working very hard in order to do that.
I noticed in the enrollment figures this year for Clarion University in particular, there was something like a 7% drop, and I think most of it came from the education sector. We have a strong reputation of turning out good teachers. Those are some of the people that you're talking about that leave, but there's a real fear with our young people that there just aren't going to be as many teaching jobs around.
Well, the other problem there is this: in the Commonwealth, we produce approximately somewhere in the neighborhood of 12 to 13,000 potential teachers every year, be it elementary, be it secondary. We produce somewhere in that neighborhood for, on average, an opportunity of 3,000 jobs. So there is, if you will, somewhat of a glut in the market of available teachers for job opportunities. One of the things that Governor Corbett and I believe as well is that with a robust economy, with a stimulated economy, more people are going to want to come here, which would create more opportunities and more need, if you will, for qualified qualified teachers to come to Pennsylvania, because there will be more young people here.
Well, that's always good. I think, too, a lot of people return to Pennsylvania in later years, too.
They do, because we offer some of the best benefits, and by the way, those benefits are deserved for our senior population. In fact, we are we have the second highest population of senior citizens next to Florida, anywhere in the Commonwealth, anywhere in the nation. And that's because of programs like PACE and PACE-Net and our attention to providing for the needs of our senior population.
And a lot of those programs are funded by the state lottery, I believe?
They are indeed. They are indeed. And actually a small segment of those programs are funded by the gaming industry as well, by the casinos.
I want to give you an opportunity. There's been a lot in the news about this giant cracker plant that
Yes.
Governor Corbett's been negotiating to locate in Pennsylvania. If you could talk a little bit about that and maybe how it will impact the job situation in Clarion County.
Oh, sure. It's going to be a very big opportunity for the entire region of the state, and indeed for the entire region of our nation. The Shell company has indicated that they have narrowed their focus for their petrochemical plant to Beaver County. And what that means is, previous to this point, they were looking at sites in the state of Ohio and the state of West Virginia. But because of where Beaver County is in relation to those other two states, while it hopefully will be cited here in Pennsylvania, it's going to create opportunity in those states as well. But what it means here in Pennsylvania is, if Shell decides to construct this plant, it is going to translate to, experts say, 10,000 construction jobs over the course of 5 years, with an additional long-term jobs of up to 8,000 jobs, not only in the plant, but also in the other companies that will be sited near the plant, because what they're going to do is they're going to take ethane and through a very scientific process, they are going to, what's called in the industry, crack that ethane to create ethylene. Ethylene is a feedstock for plastics and for the petrochemical industry. And it literally goes into just about everything you could think of: traditional plastics, adhesives, all sorts of different things that we use every day. So we, Governor Corbett and I, believe very passionately that it's not enough just to drill for the gas here and drill for the byproducts here. We've got to use them here. And that cracker facility, if in fact Shell decides to construct it here, is going to be an example of what it is that we're talking about. And it's going to be a great opportunity for the people of Beaver, for the people of Clarion, for the people of all southwestern Pennsylvania. And it's going to create jobs that will be sustainable for a long time to come.
So the future for Pennsylvania could be pretty bright.
We believe so. Governor Corbett and I believe very strongly that the best days of our Pennsylvania lie ahead. We only have the courage to make the decisions today that are going to get us there. And one of the decisions that he made that I wholeheartedly agree with is that we had to be aggressive in getting this cracker facility to southwestern Pennsylvania, and we are continuing to be aggressive and making it clear that Pennsylvania is open for business.
We have a couple of minutes left on the show today. I was wondering what the most surprising thing has been for you as since you've become a lieutenant governor. I believe you were a county commissioner in the past? I was a county commissioner in Bucks County for 6 years before I had the great honor of being elected lieutenant governor. The most surprising thing, that's an interesting question, and in fact, Ron, I give you kudos. No one has ever asked me that one. But I think probably, although I had experienced it before, but the most surprising thing about Pennsylvania is just how big it is. It is a big state from Wayne County all the way over to Erie, down to Greene, and over to my home county of Bucks. There's a lot to cover there, if you will. But the other thing that, while is not surprising because I did know it, but particularly as we're going into the fall now, the thing that is most striking in my job is just how beautiful our Commonwealth is. Regardless of what section of the state you're in, there are breathtaking sights to see all across our beautiful state. Well, that's great. I hope our weather improves here. I know you're on the road here. It's been kind of a rainy day so far, but hopefully you'll bring some sunshine with you.
Well, I'm working on it.
Well, that's a real political promise, but
exactly. Well, I didn't promise. I said it was working
that's
on
right.
it.
That's right. Let's just get the details together. Well, I appreciate you for joining us. Oh, by the way, I had to ask you. I understand, as lieutenant governor, you have a state police officer driving you, and you have to drive all these places. Is there a standard like Ed Rendell Speed limit, or?
Well, there's more than one thing that differentiates this administration from the previous administration, and one of the things that differentiates us is that Governor Corbett made it very clear that we are to keep the speed limit in double digits and not triple digits like the previous administration.
Well, you have a great day, and welcome to Clarion County, and thanks for joining us again on Clarion Connection.
Ron, thanks so much. It was a pleasure.